What is beis rabbeinu shebebavel?
I'm answering this question. I'm going to try to answer this question in light of the question that one of you asked me about the conversation that I had about the Ohel versus 770. And without repeating what I said in that other discussion, and I'm not retracting it, I'm not taking it back, but the questioner is quite correct in arguing that I didn't focus enough on 770 in terms of being based on beis rabbeinu. What I said is based on siches that the Rebbe spoke about the Friedrich Rebbe, about the Ohel and about 770 and so on and so forth. And I think the exact same things apply to the Rebbe. I don't think it's any different. But the idea of beis rabbeinu needs to be put into context. And I'll tell you how. First of all, beis rabbeinu is a sicha that everybody can learn. And it's actually very nigladik. The sicha is based on a Gemara, and it's based primarily on a Marsha. It's a remarkable sicha because it's a sicha that explains ideas that are very, very important to Chassidim, and everything has a makar Gemara. Everything has a makar Gemara. But there's one thing about beis rabbeinu which was completely lost in my last talk that I want to, so to speak, emphasize today. Right? Basically, what the Rabbi says, he brings the Gemara, that the Gemara says that when the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, it didn't go away, but rather every shul and every Beis Medrash, Beis HaKnesses and Beis HaMedrash is a Mikdash Ma'at, is a miniature Beis HaMikdash. And the Rebbe actually says that the number of people that frequent a particular Beis HaKnesses or Beis HaMedrash determines the Chelek Me'ashchina that's present in that shul. The Rebbe argues that a larger shul with more people has a bigger piece of the Shechina. And just like the Beis HaMikdash, since Beis Tefillah, Yikadeh L'chol Ha'amim, all the Yidden and Lahavdil, all the people of the world came to the Beis HaMikdash, therefore all of the Shechina was present there. In a relative way, the size of a shul and the number of people that frequent that shul affects the presence of the Shechina in that shul. So there is an idea that every shul, every Beis HaKnesses, and every Beis HaMedrash is a piece of the Beis HaMikdash. But then there's also a Gemara that says, and this again, it's based really on a Marsha, that there is one particular shul that's Tmuras Mikdash HaGodol Shir. It takes the place of the Beis HaMikdash in Yerushalayim, and this is called beis rabbeinu shebebavel. And the Chazal say Zimnin Hacha v'Zimnin Hacha. It's only in one place. It's called beis rabbeinu shebebavel, where, so to speak, the Beis HaMikdash, like the Lashon Shaf v'Yossi and Adah, the Beis HaMikdash is transplanted and it's found in that place. And the Rebbe explains at length in the Sikh, and of course everything is argued and proven from Nigel de Teira, that every single shul is a piece of the Beis HaMikdash, but there's one shul which is instead of the Beis HaMikdash. What is that shul? That's beis rabbeinu, the shul where the Rebbe is. Why is the shul where the Rebbe is Tmuras Mikdash HaGadol B'Yerushalayim? Because Anasi Hu Akel, where the Rebbe is, there is on a spiritual level the idea of Kol Klal Yisrael being there as well. And he goes on to say that this is especially true when there isn't only this mystical idea that because the Nasi Hador, which is Nasi, of course, is Rosh Tevis Nitzutza Shel Yankov Avinu, and the Rebbe is Reish B'nei Yisrael, and in the words of Rashi in Parshas Chukas, HaNasi Hu Akel, the Nasi is the whole generation. So where the Nasi is, all of the Yidden are, and that's why it's Tmuras HaMikdash HaGadol Shel Yerushalayim. But when people, Yidden, actually go to that place, and when there's an increase in the number of Yidden visiting that place, it enhances that idea. And the Rebbe says the more Yidden visit 770, which is beis rabbeinu shebebavel, the more this idea of the Shechina being there, B'Klolos, is revealed, is true, is present, is manifest. But there's one more thing that the Rebbe says, and this is really remarkable. The Rebbe goes on to say, based on, again, all based on Marei Chazal, that the final beis rabbeinu shebebavel is where the beginning of the Gula happens. That since the beis rabbeinu shebebavel is the Beis HaMikdash, and when Mashiach comes, the beis rabbeinu shebebavel is transplanted and it's placed next to the Beis HaMikdash in Yerushalayim. And again, you could look up the Sikh and see the Makoides for each one of these ideas. So the Rebbe argues that the beginning of the Gili Ashchin at the end of Gula starts in beis rabbeinu shebebavel. Because since Golul Edem Shechina Imahim, so the Golus of the Shechina is in beis rabbeinu shebabavel. So the Geula of the Shechina is going to begin in the final beis rabbeinu shebabavel. This is a very interesting idea. And to put it in simple words, this is where the Rebbe argues that 770, since it's the last beis rabbeinu shebabavel, from where the Beis HaMikdash is built, is the beginning of the Beis HaMikdash to Yossi. And again, I want to say emphatically that you don't have to trust me. You have to look up the Sikh inside and see how the Rebbe expresses this. So on that basis, 770 can't just be seen as the place where the Rebbe was. Chas v'sholom. It's the place where the Rebbe is. It's not only the place where the Rebbe is, but it's the place where the Gili of Mashiach begins. And in as much as the Gili of Mashiach, it's different, and arguably in a certain aspect, it has an advantage over the Ohel. I want to be very careful to not say my own ideas and not even to infer anything. So I'm repeating again what I said last time, that in the Rebbe's talks, the Rebbe is explaining, there's no question, the Rebbe talks about the Ohel, where the Guf is, that's where the Yechida is, and this has to be reiterated. In other words, I'm not taking back what I said before, but because of how the Rebbe explains the beis rabbeinu shebabavel Sikh, that has to do with the Gili of Mashiach. So certainly in a certain aspect, beis rabbeinu shebabavel, which is 770, as the Rebbe very clearly says in that Sikha, is the place we have the beginning of the Gili of Mashiach. In other words, not just the end of Golus, but the beginning of Geula. And in this aspect, l'chayre, it has an advantage even over the Ohel. But of course, the most important thing is that we need the Gili of Mashiach. And we've been dealing with Helen for too long.